Hi, I'm Taylor Sievertson, a Community Development Research Assistant at North Dakota State University. We're here at McGrath Park, one of the many beautiful parks in Barnesville, Minnesota. It seemed like a great place to start a conversation about natural capital. The geology, soil, air, water, and really all living things are considered assets that have value. These assets can be commodified, like in the way that agriculture serves as an industry for the community of Barnesville, but they can also be identified as having value in and of themselves. The people of Barnesville seem to recognize the balance of holding a land ethic and simultaneously recognize the economic potential present in their natural assets. That duality will become increasingly evident as we take a closer look at Barnesville's agriculture, recreational land use, and the community's relationship with water.
Barnesville boasts over a dozen residential parks, a 9-hole golf course, RV campground, scenic rivers, and their crown jewel, Blue Eagle Lake. These recreational spaces take advantage of the geography and provide opportunities for individuals to be outside and enjoy the natural environment. Blue Eagle Lake in particular has come to be a sort of meeting place for kids and adults alike. Barnesville residents and visitors come to enjoy the swimming, fishing, birdwatching, and even running along the path that loops around the lake. In the following segment, we'll hear more about the community's relationship to water in a chat with Bruce Albright, director of the Buffalo Red River Watershed District.
Yes, my name is Bruce Albright. I am the administrator for the Buffalo Red River Watershed District, which is headquartered here in Barnesville, Minnesota. I have been with the district since 1980. I'm actually an employee of Houston Engineering out of Fargo, North Dakota. And by contract then I fulfill my services or provide my services to the Buffalo Red, acting as their administrator. We take all of the area that's encompassed by this boundary line. It's a hydrologic boundary. And watershed district means the water drains to one outlet or one point. And in our case, that covers 1,800 square miles in parts of Clay, Becker, Wilkin, and Ottertail counties. It starts with our western boundary, which of course is the Red River of the North. That's being in and of itself an international river that flows to Canada and our great neighbors to the north. They have concerns. Lake Winnipeg is an outlet for that river. The phosphorus and nitrogen that's making its way to Lake Winnipeg, and the algae blooms that they have up there, and the fisheries that they have. So I mean, you know, that's one issue, and of course it's hard for the watershed to, we can't solve all of those issues, but we're a part of that. And then of course what we can deal with though is the Buffalo River that empties into the Red River, Wolverton Creek that empties into the Red River. That's where we can start to have an impact to say, what can we do at the outlet of the Buffalo to reduce phosphorus, to reduce nitrogen, to control flooding. I think we've identified 13 different goals. So the board works on achieving those goals. There's flood damage reduction, there's legal drainage systems. Drainage is an important issue to the valley to raise the crops that we have here. We deal with groundwater, we deal with wetlands, we deal with education, we deal with long-range planning and financing. We deal with water quality monitoring. We need to know what's happening in the district. So with those 13 goals, we keep busy trying to achieve those goals. And then we also, in conjunction with that, we have a permitting system. So anybody in the district who wants to change something that has a possible effect on water needs to apply for a permit. So typically we handle about 150 permits a year. Someone's going to tile a field, they're going to take out a 18-inch diameter culvert and put in a bigger one. Those types of requests come here through our permitting system. So then we have we've got 95 legal drainage systems in the Watershed District, totaling some 600 miles, which we're the authority of, so we need to keep those functioning. And we have currently 80 different projects on the books. So that river system, I mean, which is so important, the Red River of the North is almost a world-renowned fishery. and people would look at it and go, it looks muddy and fish in there, yeah, it's great. And that fishery continues. It's truly you build it, they will come type thing. I mean, if we have our rivers, we just put in a fish passage spillway here in Barnesville in the last couple of years out along Highway 34. The fish use that. The catfish come up to Barnesville, the walleyes, lake sturgeon, everything is using that. So that wide array of riverine system that are rivers out there that empty into the red we can deal with. The ditch systems drain into the rivers, so we've got those to manage. And we're only talking about surface water, then we get into groundwater. And of course all of the cities that have their own water supply, like the city of Barnesville. Now, through state mandates, we've identified a drinking water supply management area in and around the wells here in town. So there's an area 5, 6, 8 miles out that we think the water infiltrates into the ground and ends up being the water we drink in Barnesville. So we're concerned about what's going on in that DWSMA, acronym, Water Supply Management Area. We've done a lot of work on the Buffalo Aquifer, which is a very important water supply source. What's interesting about the Buffalo is places now it's exposed to the surface, so that tells you how vulnerable it could be to contamination. With the wet years we've had, Morehead is getting 85–90% of their drinking water out of the Red River, but we do know in years like 1976 the Red dried up. So having that backup source of water, the Buffalo Aquifer, is very important. We've got Blue Eagle Lake, which is an important resource here in Barnesville. Has been here since the WPA, or Work Program Administration days in the 1940s. The swimming and the fishing that takes place here. The creek that comes right through town, our infamous covered bridge out along Highway 34 and the new fish passage ladder there. In fact, in last night's paper there was a letter to the editor from a resident who said, I went for a walk around the lake and seen the kids using the lake and the joy of some kids squealing they'd caught a fish, and sat down at a bench and watched the water go down Whiskey Creek over the fish passage spillway and said, what a great community.
The history of this region has had lasting impacts on the industry, economy, and lifestyles of the people who live here today. Over 10,000 years ago, Lake Agassiz spread across the northern plains. It was the result of the melting of a massive glacier which enriched the soil and created a fertile environment for future farmers and ranchers. As the glacier melted, it pushed land aside and resulted in a flat topography. This is called a ground moraine. Barnesville happens to sit just on the edge of this moraine. Where the glacier stopped, a hilly landscape is left. This is the terminal moraine. Barnesville splits these two topographies and thus has two very distinct agricultural areas. That fertile soil has allowed the county to grow wheat, soybeans, sugar beets, barley, and corn. Here in Barnesville, Ohio seed potatoes became prevalent in the early 20th century in an effort to diversify. As you'll learn in future videos, the culture of potato farming became an important identity for the people who lived here and would remain so for years to come. Asset mapping is the process of inventorying and depicting assets in an effort to understand community strengths, correlations, and potential impacts. Asset mapping provides a clearer way to understand how resources may be mobilized to assess development considerations. The ways that Barnesville has captured their natural assets has provided for increases in financial capital, social capital, and in many ways has shaped the culture of this region. This spiraling up, where growth in one area leads to cumulative growth in others, is the ultimate goal of asset-based development and strong communities.